welcome to Bow Repair's Kiwi Thunder. I'm John Dunstan. Tonight we're back at Auckland's Waikaraka Park, the Mendent International Speedway. It's the New Zealand team champs, the stock cars, and Phil, sort of the autosport equivalent of civil war on the track.
It's a perfect description, John, because that's exactly what it is. There'll be no individual efforts tonight. It's solely a team effort. Should be fantastic. We've got 8 teams right across the country here. South Island's represented through Nelson. It'll be good.
And just how rough do you think it will get out there?
Oh, it'll get very rough. We were here, we were at the Teams Nationals last year in Palmerston North. They put cars on the roof, they put them up the wall, they nearly put them into the crowd. And boy, the crowd got behind it, and I expect the same thing here tonight.
So we're looking forward to plenty of fun. Before we go racing, though, let's catch up with some of the main competition tonight.
Well, the weather over the weekend hasn't been kind in Auckland, and this 2-day meeting's been condensed into one meeting. The first heat saw Team Green with the defending national champion, Craig Pearce, up against the Nelson Tigers. Team Green, the first time they put in the composite team, not the Auckland team, this is their own team. But the Nelson Tigers, a young team but very aggressive, they carried the day in the first heat. And of course, they were without their national champion, Craig Boot. They still won the first heat. Second up, it was the Stratford Gladiators up against the Palmerston North Panthers. 2 names to conjure with in the history of team racing. Teams racing, of course, it's all about getting one car from your team across the finish line first. Lots of big hits in the Palmerston North Stratford match, as you would expect. These guys have been bashing into each other for years and years and years. In the end, though, Stratford went through and Palmerston North went home. It's a sudden death thing here for the heats in the teams racing, and Palmerston North, a surprise to the big crowd here at Waikaraka Park, they had to go home. The third heat was Waikato versus Rotorua. The Rotorua Rebels had to start with the favourites because they had Barry Hunter in the field. Remember, it's 4 cars per team, and it's the first team with 1 car across the finish line. Quite a surprise. Waikato put up a good fight, John Dunstan.
Waikato a good side. They certainly had plenty of fans here tonight, but remember, with this racing tonight, if you lose in the heats, you are out of the competition completely. This makes these guys very serious about winning tonight, Phil.
Certainly does, and you can see for yourself, very serious action there. Stan Hickey getting involved, but at the end of the day, it was Rotorua that go through and Waikato back on the transporters. The 4th and final heat was, well, the Battle of the North Island. It was Wellington versus Auckland. The Wellington Wildcats versus the Auckland All-Stars. Well, you'd have to think that Wellington will be the favourite in this one. They won this event last year. It was Darren Gray that did 5 laps on his own to clinch the title. Might be a bit different this time, John.
Well, we hope so for the sake of the Auckland crowd. Remember, the other Auckland side, the Waioko rigging side, are back on the trailer. They've hung up their racing helmets. Plenty of action in this one. The Auckland crowd right behind this Auckland side.
Well, by the end of Heat 4, it looks like Wellington didn't have to hang their helmets up because they won the final heat. They are the 4th finalist as we move into the team's nationals. Tony McClellan was designated the runner, and Auckland tried as hard as they could. They couldn't stop the Wellington Wildcats, and they got through just by the skin of their teeth.
So these are our top contenders. These are our semi-finalists. Nelson, Stratford, Rotorua and Wellington. One of these sides will be the New Zealand team's national stock car champs for 1998.
Well, Bruce, the team captain of the Stratford Gladiators, did you expect to beat Palmerston quite as easily as you did?
Oh, no way. I mean, this Palmerston team's very, very tough. We changed our tactics due to the track conditions, being a little bit wet. We went down to Christchurch at the start of the year and got absolutely whipped on the same sort of track. So we changed our tactics and we all ran for it and run them clean off the end. And at the same time, turn right as hard as we can.
Team talks, I guess you're not going to tell us what the tactics are all about, Stan Hickey?
Not really. We have a chat before and go out and try and do what we plan to do.
Is it much more involved than just the obvious, you know, protect the hair?
Yeah, there is. I'm probably quite new at it, although I've watched a lot of teams racing, been around years, but it doesn't always turn out the way you want it to.
Stan, it's been quite tough because with the preliminaries, it's a matter of do or die. You're out if you lose, and it's obviously going to be tough right from the start.
Yeah, you've got no second chance, and you've just got to do it. Otherwise, you might as well pack up and go. So if you want to be at the end, you've just got to win.
Well, Jace, you're into the semi-finals. It must feel pretty good.
Yeah, we're wrapped. We thought we were up with a pretty tough teams race, drawing the green team first up. But, we outwitted them, done some nice crashing, and we got through.
You did, because I was watching that race and I thought with a couple to go that you guys were out of it, and then you came back and won it easily, basically.
Yeah, well, it was sort of my fault. I didn't realise they still had a car running. And, then I just seen his car in my mirrors and got back in the pits afterwards after I'd hung him in the fence and they told me that he was leading. And, yeah, because he just sneaked around.
How do you think you'll go against Stratford?
We're looking to put on a good hard race like we just did, and we want to win it.
Tony, it came down right to the wire against Auckland.
Sure did. Good hard team. They know what it's about. It's their event. Obviously, they're
You know, they're very tough to beat on their home track, so good race.
Just trying to avoid having my pants set on fire down here. Obviously, plenty of work to do before the semi-finals come up.
Yeah, well, that was a reasonably tough race, but you ain't seen nothing yet. Stay posted.
With the sudden death format, it's been incredibly rough tonight. You can see the repairs going on in the background. These guys have got to get it finished to get out on the track. We're down to the last 4 teams.
We really are. It's been fantastic. We've seen some pretty mismatches, I think. Rotorua had an easy win over Waikato. That put them into the semi-finals. Wellington were very lucky, you'd have to say, against Auckland, so they're there as well. Be good, though. The first semi will be Nelson and Stratford. Stratford had a fantastic race, so they're going to be hard to beat. And, of course, Rotorua and Wellington, old adversaries. It'll be exciting.
The thing that impresses me is the amount of experience in some of these teams. These guys have been around. They know the tactics for this sort of racing.
Well, when you get the likes of Barry Hunter and Pat Westerby from the Rotorua team, they've been there, they've done that, and they certainly showed it. They'll be one of the ones to beat, I'm sure.
Let's go racing in the semis.
First semi-final, Nelson versus Stratford. Remember, the Tigers came within 2 metres of taking this championship last year, but it's Stratford that gets away first. Let's just give you a brief rundown on what happens with teams racing. It's the first team car across the line after the 8 laps that is accredited with the win. All the other team guys can gang up on all the opposition, so it's exciting stuff. And at the moment, it is Nelson out in the front in this one. Remember, as we told you, so close to winning it last year. Can Stratford do anything about it? At the moment, they can't. It is number 21 for the Stratford Scrappers, and that is Lionel Penn getting into the frame there. Remember, Nelson without Craig Boot. John Dunstan, I think on this showing you'd have to put your money on Nelson.
Oh yes, as we've already seen and as we've already heard, Nelson absolutely determined to go right through the event as winners this time around. They came so close last year, and even through the heats it's been very, very exciting. It's a matter of either win it or you go home. These guys are determined to win it tonight.
Well, at the moment, Dave Hewitt's doing just that for the Nelson Tigers. Just up in front of him, though, is John Durning from Stratford, one of the heavy hitters, and he's put Hewitt into the wall, and that's allowed the Stratford boys to go through into the front. So number 21, Lionel Penn now, getting away down the front straight here at Waikaraka Park. He is the race leader, but by being the race leader, he's played his cards a little bit early. He's now a marked man, and you can guarantee that all the Nelson Tigers, and there it is, they try to spin around, it doesn't work, they come up into the town bend, and 86, Brendan Higgins, gets spun for his trouble. He tried to get Penn, and he couldn't do it, and Lionel Penn just climbing all over the back of the Nelson Tigers, but he might have paid the price there, John Dunstan.
Yes, he is certainly a marked man now. He is coming in for plenty of attention. Looks like this time he's been spun out of contention.
And it's Dean Painter that's done the job for Nelson. Lurking in there, though, watch out for number 37, Brendan Rowlands. 84 has come to a halt. 37, Rowlands gets into the back of them, but I think we've got a red flag situation. Yes, we have.
Yes, a number of cars into the wall on the back straight. Bit of debris back up off the track. There we go with the green again, Phil.
Okay, so 84 gets away for Nelson, but he gets a slow start. Rowlands gets brought behind him. Now he tries to get into the side of him as they go down the back straight and they come together, but that's played into the hands of the Nelson Tigers once again because they've got a runner, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's Dave the Hitman Hewitt has got away once more. Down the front straight they come. The Nelson Tigers in command of this one. They've got a blocker just up in front, and it is number 88, Dave the Hitman Hewitt, that got away from them. Stratford are really disorganised at the moment. They can't do too much about it. And the Nelson Tigers looking pretty good, but don't forget, you can lie and wait. You can wait for your opposition and then drive straight onto the racetrack and T-bone him. Nelson Tigers, though, it looks like they'll advance through. Lots of the Stratford cars broken on the side of the track. The Bradley Motors team from Nelson are going to do the job, and it looks like it's going to be so easy for them. 71 into the side, but he can't stop the progress of Dave the Hitman Hewitt. 71, John Durning throws everything at it, but it's not going to be enough. And the first finalist, I think, has been found. It'll be the Nelson Tigers. They've got 1 lap to go, and I'll tell you what, victory will be sweet, John Dunstan.
Yes, a full of determination, but 1 lap can be a long way in one of these races, Phil. There's still plenty of fight left in the Stratford side.
Well, it sure is, John, and that's what team racing's all about. The Stratford guys can still lay and wait for Nelson, but at the moment they've got a blocker in there. They've got Hitman going toward the checkered flag. They've got one in there just trying to impede the progress of number 65 from Stratford, and that's Bruce Williams, the team captain. He's taken a bit of a hit as well, and now he gets into the side of Hewitt, but there's another Nelson man to back him up. So 86 into the front now, and this is Brendan Higgins from the Nelson Tigers. So the Nelson Tigers, the 2 cars running 1 and 2 on the racetrack at the moment, they've taken this semi-final by the throat. At the moment, it is Higgins Hawkins leading the charge. Don't forget Hewitt going again. But so too is Stratford, and they can lie and wait, as we said. Remember, the objective of the game is to get one car across the finish line by the end of the laps. At the moment, it looks good for Nelson, but Durning comes back for Stratford. And you'll see just up in front of him, I think it might be Lionel Penn lying in wait there. Meantime, Nelson have done it well. They've consolidated. They've got one car as a reserve, if you like. So if their leader gets taken out, at this stage it's Higgins. They've got a man waiting in behind him to just get through and get to the checkered flag. So number 37 it is, trying to slow down the progress of the Nelson Tigers, and he's done so. Jason Moyer into the wall, and that was a great effort there from Brendan Rowlands. But as we said, there's another one waiting in the wings to take over the front running. Nelson are running away with the first of the semi-finals here for the team's nationals for 98, and deserved winners too as they run down the front straight once again here at Waikaraka Park. Looks on the TV screen like they're completely unchallenged. They are. The checkered flag comes out, and the Nelson Tigers are our first semi-finalists. So Moyer, Bradley, Higgins, Hewitt and Painter. The Nelson Tigers get through, and Stratford go home.
Jason Moyer, you're up from Nelson, 28 people. You've got 6 cars, you've got an enormous transporter, countless thousand bits and pieces, but the main thing is you've made it through to the final.
Yeah, this is what we've come for. We got there last year. We ran a hard race last year, come second to Wellington. As most people know, Craig Boot was taken out 6 feet from the line. But, this year, all our cars are going strong. We've got a good feeling we want to take this home.
So the second semi-final, 2 of the favourites out here. This time it's Rotorua versus Wellington. The Rotorua Rebels versus the Wellington Wildcats. And it's Wellington that gets the best start of them all. Looks like it's Tony McLennan getting away from them. Perhaps he's being designated as the runner. And spinning around, Pat Westbury there. And Westbury, we've seen it already in the semi-finals. He's the hitman for Rotorua, John.
Yes, the Rotorua Classic hits an 87 FM car. Watch out for Pat tonight. It just amazes me after all the very heavy hits we've seen. Both these teams are up and running and looking so good.
Well, one that always looks a picture, the car is always immaculate, is Barry Hunter, but he's not the one that's providing the highlights at the moment for the Rotorua Rebels. It's Stan Hickey. Once again, Westbury right in the thick of it there. Eddie Hawkins just getting balked a little bit there by number 83 from Rotorua, and that is Wayne Houston. 5 it is, still McLennan in the front, getting a little bit of attention now from Hunter. Puts him up into the wall. In fact, that's number 3, Darren Gray. So Barry Hunter not in the running position for Rotorua at the moment, but doing a bit of defending at the present time. 515, a little bit of trouble with the disc brake. That's what the Sparks is all about there in the back of Stan Hickey's car. He's got away from them a wee bit, and Wellington will have to regroup if they want to challenge this one. Remember, it's sudden death. If you don't win, you go home. And look at that, just getting out of the way is Hickey. Number 515, that's a consistently fast car. Another man that's done lots of teams racing is Barry Hunter, but it looks like his race is over. The car comes off onto the infield, and that's a major blow for the Rotorua Rebels.
Barry's done his fair share of the hard work for the Rebels tonight. It's been a hard night for him. He hasn't finished too many of these races, but Phil, being down to 3 cars is really a major disadvantage.
It sure is, John. Remember, 4 cars started the race, and already we see a tangle up there, and Stan Hickey it is involved. Meantime, the race leader has been taken out of the play. That was Tony McLennan. That was just the subtlest attempts, but it's worked well for Rotorua because the Wellington car, the Able Autos car, is disabled, and the red flag comes out, and I would suspect there is a problem with Tony McLennan. The flag came out very quickly indeed. Well into the restart, and number 3 for Wellington. I guess he'll now be the designated runner. This is Darren Gray. He finished 3rd in the National Stockcar Championships at Rotorua just a couple of months ago, so he's certainly fast enough. He's got the pedigree, but Rotorua will still be lying in wait. Another thing we've got to consider is that now both teams are down to 3 cars, and 2 of the fastest runners are out of the field, Barry Hunter and Tony McLennan. Number 6, Eddie Hawkins, last season the North Island Stockcar champ. Looks like he's doing it fairly easily at the moment, down the front straight here at Waikaraka Park. But now we get back into the meat of the program, and number 3, Darren Gray, pushed aside, and that allows Eddie Hawkins to go through in front for Wellington. And you'll see all the Wellington guys ganging up on the Rotorua boys, and Hawkins straight into the back of Pat Westbury, and Westbury trying to hold him up as much as he can as they go down the front straight once again. Look at Westbury all over the racetrack, spins round, really sacrifices his race to try and stop Hawkins, and it doesn't work. Hawkins stays in the front running, but he's not going very fast at all, but the man behind him certainly is, and that is number 515, Stan Hickey from Rotorua. So he's coming back into contention as well, being fixed up there by Darren Gray, but I think Hickey might have got away. Eddie Hawkins now, perhaps the last saviour for Wellington. Watch 2 for Stan Hickey coming through there in the number 515, and going around the outside is Darren Gray, so perhaps he thought Hawkins wasn't quite going quick enough. So number 3, Darren Gray, takes up the cudgels for Wellington. Hickey is there, remember. Sometimes in these change races, it gets pretty confusing indeed as Pat Westbury gets a big shunt from Darren Gray as they head down into the cemetery turn. In fact, the top turn here at Waikaraka Park once again. Darren Gray trying to get around Pat Westbury. Westbury doing the best job he can to hold him up as they run down the front straight. Well, it's all very slow motion at the moment. Hawkins gets through. Gray gets stopped behind Westbury, so that's what teams racing's all about. Here's number 91, Wayne Richards, trying to hold up what we believe is the race leader, and that is Rotorua's Stan Hickey. We might have to leave this one up to the judges. Very close stuff. Nail-biting action here in the second of the team semi-finals. Richards gets disposed of, and that allows Hickey to go back into the front. And now the Wellington guys gang up on themselves because Richards punted out of the way by Eddie Hawkins. Hawkins feels obviously that he can do a better job to try and catch the flying Rotorua man, and that is Hickey. So Hickey runs towards the checkered flag. Wellington can't do too much about it. Down the front straight, a little bit more urgency this time for Hawkins, but I think it's all too little, too late. Yes, it is. Rotorua gets there.
Yes, Bill, the judges agree with your call. Stan Hickey has put Rotorua through to the finals tonight.
Well, one of the unsung heroes of that fine effort from Rotorua, Stan, that was a brilliant drive.
Yeah, it was pretty hard out there though, but yeah, I had the brakes and then I just had to drive the best I could and try and keep out of trouble.
Did you know that where you stood on the racetrack, like when you cross, you'd be the winner because we were sitting with a whole lot of Wellington people, they reckon you were a lap down?
I knew I was right up there because Calvin Gray was held up a while and Eddie was over in the other corner for a while, but it did worry me when I went in the wall and stalled it there and one of our guys came and gave me a push and that got me going again, but I didn't really think I was in the lead at the end, but I knew I had a few laps up.
They've just had a team huddle there. What are the plans for the final?
We're going to have another chat just before we go out, but yeah, we just got to go and do it again.
Well, Phil, we're down to the final. The New Zealand Stockcar Team Nationals down to just 2 teams, and there'll be a guy out there picking up the fillings off the pitch. It's just been so rough.
Oh, I tell you what, we've seen some fantastic hits tonight, but it isn't over yet, John. We're going to see some even bigger hits, I'm sure of it. The Nelson guys, they're young, but boy, they hit hard. I was talking to the Rotorua blokes, and they said they're very wary about the hits that these guys can put on them. I think Rotorua will have the advantage in the speed, but that may be negated on this track. It's pretty puggy out there. I guess horsepower's not going to do it for them.
Very difficult to pick, and with this kind of driving, it really still could be anybody's race, couldn't it?
Absolutely. It's nip and tuck all the way. I'm favouring Rotorua because we've watched them all throughout the show and they've done really great stuff. But I tell you what, Nelson will be right there should they make a mistake.
We've got some very exciting racing for you. Stand by for the final.
Well, this is the final event of the Teams Nationals for 1998. I've hedged my bets. I think Rotorua can do it. But then again, my predictions have been 100% wrong right throughout the series. Hunter it is that gets away for Rotorua. So the initial plan is working as they wanted to. Rotorua in the front. Now Nelson come back hard at them. Remember, they hit very hard indeed. And they've got a fair bit of experience in this team's racing. They only missed it by a couple of metres last year. And at the moment, they're looking pretty good as number 88, Dave the Hitman Hewitt, fixes up Pat Westbury from Rotorua. Meantime, Hunter's got away a wee bit. Now getting balked a little, slowed and stuck onto the infield nearly as Barry Hunter. He manages to get away. John, this will be a beauty. This is a clash of the Titans. I've picked Rotorua. You'll have to go for Nelson.
Maybe I will go for Nelson, but it looks like Barry Hunter may have been saving his car throughout this event because he is really tearing up the track in the final.
Well, perhaps that's what the secret was for Rotorua to get through. I know it was all important to get into this final event, certainly for both teams. Maybe Hunter's saving, who knows. The 138, certainly one of the fastest stock cars we've seen in New Zealand for quite some time, is doing a great job at the moment. But he was a little bit quiet in the heats, but they did enough. Rotorua got through. Another one to watch on the Rotorua side is Pat Westbury in the 97. He's been there or thereabouts, blocking and getting into the other cars at the moment, getting right into the side of Brendan Higgins there, Pat Westbury. So he's doing his job well. In the meantime, though, Barry Hunter from Rotorua is starting to run away with this. Well, I think I might have spoken too soon. The car is not going very fast at all as they come into the cemetery turn, and Stan Hickey punched Barry Hunter out of the way, and I think Hunter's going off onto the infield. Well, that's a huge blow for Rotorua. Barry Hunter, easily the fastest stock car driver in the country, is off on the infield, and in the meantime, still, Rotorua has stumbled because Nelson has got away. Hickey has been balked up here on the back straightaway, and that's allowed one of the Nelson Tigers to get away, and get away he does, and straight into the back of Pat Westbury. Westbury doing his best to put him off onto the infield, spins around, but I think he got out of his clutches, and there's always somebody in reserve. This is brilliant teams racing from the Nelson Tigers, John Dunstan.
Yes, there's another Nelson runner right through, but he's still got to deal with Laszlo Mazeros, who's one of the real stalwarts of stock car racing in Rotorua. He's having his moment of fame, and off into the wall by the look of this.
Well, 88 98 it was. Dave the Hitman Hewitt that's done the job once again for the Nelson Tigers, the Bradley Motor Company Nelson Tigers, as Hickey just picks up the dregs. But really, that is the ball game, I would think. We've got 4 cars crowded out in the cemetery turn. But meantime, if you have a look, you just see the orange flag car go past the control tower. He is the race leader at the moment as the Rotorua boys fight their way out of the traffic. Westerby going again, Hickey going again, Laszlo Mazeros is going again, but already there is a Nelson Tiger about a half a lap in front of them. 89 comes into play now. This is Dean Painter just worrying Pat Westerby as they go down the front straight, spins him round. So perhaps the challenge is gone from the Rotorua Rebels. 515, Stan Hickey, the lone Rotorua car now. Can he do it? Can he stop the 3 still going Nelson cars? I don't think he can. It's a huge ask. He's going to take them on though. He takes them on as they come down the front straight once again. He certainly stops one of them, but there's 2 more in reserve. The Nelson Tigers are doing a fantastic job here at Waikaraka Park for the team's nationals. They came so close last year. They're going to do it this time round. Dean Painter avoids the attentions of Pat Westerby there. So Painter in the front at the moment for the Nelson Tigers. Pat Westerby really the only one capable of doing any damage for the Rotorua Rebels. He lies in wait as they go down the front straight. He's got to take the chance to fix up one of the Tigers here. It is Painter that gets into the back of him. He still waits, waiting for another Tiger. It's all up to Westerby and Hickey, and they go through the inside. So the Nelson Tigers have split the Rotorua sandwich, the meat in the sandwiches. The Nelson Tigers, have they done enough? Are they going to win the 98 Nationals? I think they are, and it's a bit of a turner. Westerby's been fighting hard all the while, but in the meantime, Nelson have got away.
Well, can Nelson retain the lead? That's the question. There's still a wee way to go. Westerby and Hickey will feel like they have been in an absolute war. So much attention has been put on these guys, and there's been more damage done to these cars than I think I've ever seen in any stock car event before.
Well, it was always going to be hot and heavy, and that's what we've got. Westerby goes round once again. Painter does the job this time, but as we've said so many times, there's always a backup Nelson car right there. They've really planned this well, the young Nelson team. Number 89, Dean Painter, is their designated front runner at the moment. So Hewitt, it looks like problems in the engine. Something blew then, maybe a radiator hose or something. I think it was steam rather than smoke. Stan Hickey going again, trying to get out of his way, or trying to get in his way, possibly more to the point, is Jason Moyer. But meantime, the Nelson boys come again. Remember, Rotorua down to only 2 cars mobile, and Nelson are back up to 3. One of them, albeit slowly, but still 3 cars there. Stan Hickey trying to do the best he can, and it's the 2 Nelson boys that fix up Hickey. But of course, there's still one more Nelson car in the fray, and that is 89, Dean Painter. He spins Pat Westerby as they go down the front straight. The white flag comes out, and the Nelson Tigers are going to win the team's nationals for 98 if they can survive the last straight and the town bend for the last time, because that's where Hickey probably is lying in wait, or has he been fixed up by the rest of the Nelson Tigers? So the Nelson Tigers just 1 straight away to go, and all the Rotorua cars disabled. So Jason Moore, Craig Bradley, Brendan Higgins, Dave Hewitt and Dean Painter will get the checkered flag, and Nelson will win the team's nationals. The final result, Nelson defeat Rotorua in a bit of a boil-over. Jason, team captain, you must feel pretty happy.
Yeah, happy and sore, but we're glad we've won this. Last year we come 6 foot from it. This year we've got it.
What was the difference between this year and last year, do you think?
There was no difference in commitment. It was the same as last year. It was just luck was there this year.
All right, and long plane ride home tomorrow, but a bit of a celebration tonight?
Yeah, we don't go home until 5 o'clock, so we've got a lot of time to recover.
Well, drink it up because you deserve it. You did a fantastic job.
Well, Phil, we got it right in one respect. There was so much action tonight.
Really was some big hits there, John. I got the prediction wrong again. I'm betting 1,000 to do that. I thought Rotorua would do it. They weren't in it. After 1 lap, they weren't in it. I couldn't believe it.
They had the experience, they had the fast cars, but boy, Nelson put in some big hits, didn't they?
Oh, some big hits. A young team and deserved champions. They came within 6 feet of doing it last year, and they've done it this year. Congratulations to the Nelson Tigers.
It's been a lot of fun. The team's racing the whole season's been a lot of fun, but it's just about over for us.
Well, yeah, it's a bit of a sad time for us, really. I've really enjoyed travelling right around the country and bringing you all the speedway action. We've had a ball. Everywhere we've gone, we've been well received. It's been fantastic. I look forward to doing it again.
Yes, I hope you can join us next season with Bow Repairs, Kiwi Thunder.